Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and we are doing Witchy Things to draw today. Now I do have a bit of a confession to make. The prompts that were on the page underneath this one just didn't seem to go together very well at all. So I'm going to save them to go with other ones that don't go very well at all and do one big prompt-a-thon, if that makes any sense. So I skipped forward a page and today's prompts are a bat and a bulb of garlic. I mean, what a combination, right? Before we go too far into this video, please make sure you have hit that subscribe button just so you don't miss out on any more of these. And of course have that lovely notification bell on as well. Right, so let's talk about the prompts. So it was hard at first to know what to do with these because I was thinking about drawing a vampire bat, recoiling away from the bulb of garlic. And then I thought, well, as comedy as that would be, it wouldn't really fit into the Art Nouveau theme I've had going on here. So I just played about with the composition a little bit, and then I decided to make a tree line based on the shape of a bulb of garlic. So where my brain wouldn't work on the prompts that I missed, it seemed to activate perfectly for this one. After playing about a bit with the composition on where I'd have the bat, I then settled on a design, which is what I am starting right in front of your very eyes now. I do believe it was requested by one of you lovely lot that I use Derwent Inktense, and I thought what an absolutely splendid idea that was because I haven't used them for ages. I decided to use the Derwent Inktense pan set because that's just a little bit easier for me. And I am so glad that we went with Derwent. I mean, they behave like a watercolour upon application, they have a slight granulation to them, and they are pretty much permanent. Once they're on that paper, they are not going to shift. I started the first layer off with, I'm only going to assume is a ultramarine. And the reason I assume is I've had these paints for a number of years now, and it was before I got as pernickety as I am about retaining the packaging and the colour names. I just kind of went in there and used them straight away and threw everything out. But I'm going to guess that first layer of blue I added was an ultramarine, and then I went for a slight purple colour which I couldn't tell you the name of, and then, well, I want to say it's a phthalo blue, but I really don't know. It could be a cobalt blue, who knows, but there was another blue in the Inktense set and I added that as well to create a nice gradient. I've actually really enjoyed painting these night sky type things for this prompt list, so an opportunity to do another one was not a bad thing in my opinion. And I really like the texture in the background there as well. I excluded an area out for where the moon's going to be. I thought that would just add a nice bit of centralisation to the image and also give me a little bit of scope to create some form with these trees, so it looks like the garlic bulb shaped tree formation. It looks a little bit more apparent. You could say I was a little abstract in my design here, and again, I'm kind of surprised myself it took this route, but creating the tree branches to match up with the shape of a garlic bulb, I think I did well with this, and I think it works well with that Art Nouveau style I've got going on. I used a semi-light wash of the Derwent black and that worked out okay. There's a bit of texture on there, but I don't mind that so much. I mainly just did a light wash of it just to get a general idea of where I want those sprouts of branches to go, and let that dry and decided to fill the corners in with that background because for some reason I didn't do that the first time around. I should also mention the watercolour paper I used was the Portofino DS and it's 100% cotton, and I got it in an upcrate a while back where I think it was the one with the Derwent light fast coloured pencils, and I kind of held on to it ever since, so this seemed like a great project for it. To accompany the Derwent Inktense pan set, I actually used a Derwent coloured pencil Inktense, of course, to add in a little bit more depth and detail and just crispen up those edges a little bit on the tree because I just wanted them to really stand out. Again, I did a light wash underneath just so there are no naughty little white bits of paper showing through. And I think adding this additional outline and just filling areas in straight in there with that colour really helped, I guess, create a nice silhouette. And of course the beauty of these pencils is they are water soluble and they just melt beautifully with some nice clean water. I thought with the paper choice combined with using the pencil as well worked out really nicely and created some lovely textures. After adding the clean water and just tidying everything else up a little bit, things were starting to take a nice form and I was really liking the direction this was going in. And I really like how the Derwent Inktense range, they all work together really nicely. I'm going to assume that it's the same stuff that's in the leads, which is in the pans, which is in the colour blocks. Although I do find the colour blocks just tend to be a little bit more on the creamier side when activating. I tend not to find that with the pencils and pans. So maybe they have to add something extra in the blocks, which is why I didn't use those specifically on here today. I actually remember when I purchased the Derwent Inktense pan set and it was whilst I was shop sitting in the art shop below my studio. It was one of those dangerous cases where the shop was a little bit on the quiet side and I was having a browse around and I thought, yeah, I think I need these in my life. I originally bought them to go with my Inktense pencils that I'd had for a few years before. But I think as a palette on their own they stand out quite well, and with them being permanent, I perhaps wouldn't advise them as a beginner watercolour set if you want that true watercolour experience, but if you're not bothered about it being permanent, I do actually think they are a nice sort of step in the right direction if you're wanting to try watercolours. Perhaps if you're just used to adding one colour in one area and perhaps colouring in line work, they're great for that. But that's only from my experience and it's just my opinion, but I do think they are excellent value and I'm usually pretty happy with Derwent products. There's only one or two where I've not been a massive fan of them. Now I'm at that stage where it's time to start adding some finishing touches, so a little bit of texture on the trees, and I just used a tiny brush and added lots of little lines for that. It's very subtle, but I kind of like that. I don't want anything too bold and distracting from what I'm trying to get across here. I also took this as a good opportunity to fill in that black border, and I left that until last just in case I had a change of heart as to what colour I was going to do that, but I thought black worked really well and it ties everything in and frames everything nicely too. I must admit, I really do like this design, and I know I say this like every time I do one, but this is also one of my favourites, and I think maybe these night skies are probably a bit of a contributing factor as to why I like certain ones so much. I also like how the moon, you've sort of got that circular shape there, but I think I didn't do a bad transition between the white of the paper and building a gradient. And it's kind of hard to describe, but it's definitely circular, but it's not like I haven't had to outline it to make it apparent. And as for the bat, I just went in there with a Derwent pencil and a bit of a water wash, and that's all it needed. I do hope you've enjoyed this video and this unusual mashup of the prompts. It was a bit of a brain teaser, but I think I did okay with it. But of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think. There should be some more lovely videos on the screen for you to click right now. And of course, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!